Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Speaking of Animals. Thanks for tuning in with us today. We really appreciate it. My name is Jeffrey Ritter. I'm with the Flagler Humane Society, and today we're going to be talking to an organization whose mission is to provide much-needed support to nonprofit organizations on the front line of animal rescue, and they do this by raising funds, securing resources, and building awareness on their behalf. It currently offers support to groups through its National Pet Bed, National Pet Crate donation programs, and its Forgotten Shelters programs. And its affiliate programs also enable shelters and rescue groups to earn extra funds for food, veterinary supplies, beds, crates, whatever their needs may be. And they believe that the life of every creature is worth saving, and every creature deserves its best efforts to give them their second chance where possible. So, today with me is Tracy French. She is the founder of Animal Rescue Aid up in Atlanta, Georgia. So thank you so much for being with us today, Tracy.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Jeffrey. Thank you for inviting me on.
Sure. Now, your organization started in 2008. So, what were you doing before then, and what made you want to start Animal Rescue Aid?
My background is actually project management, and I was working with AT&T at that time for quite a number of years. But my first love has always been animals, and I'd always looked for an opportunity to hopefully one day make, taking care of animals or supporting animal rescue groups in some way my full-time endeavor, and fortunately today that is the case. But back at that stage, back in 2008, I was still looking for my pathway, and at that time I was reading, looking for that avenue, and I was reading an article that came my way on the internet that spoke about a young girl in her teens, obviously a terrific young lady, who was raising funds to get pet beds into her local shelter there in Mesa, Arizona. And at the time, she had raised an enormous amount of money, and but had purchased surprisingly few beds for what I considered an enormous amount of money. And I, did the math, and I thought initially that my math was incorrect, but it was correct. And anyway, one thing led to another, and I thought, gosh, there's got to be a better way to get some good quality beds into shelters. And when I researched it, I found out that really, getting quality beds into shelters there just wasn't a really, effective way to get a well-priced quality bed that would stand up to the rigors of a shelter. It just wasn't available. So I sort of set about at that point going down a path that I didn't realize would bring me to where I am today.
Yeah, that was
but
even there,
I sort of became an expert on pet beds,
nice.
And sort of 4 years later, I founded Animal Rescue Aid in 2008. 2010 was when I started the pet bed program, and now, 5 years later, I'm pretty well entrenched in the pet bed program, and here we are today. So that's how it started.
Wow, just from reading an article, and it went from there, huh?
Yes, it went from there. Because, pet beds are if I may, just elaborate a little bit on that.
Yes.
Pet beds are not just, the simple comfort that obviously it brings to an animal in a shelter. It's clearly that, but it's so much more. A pet bed is enrichment for an animal that, shelters are clearly mostly a very chaotic, noisy, stressful environment for an animal that's been brought in, to a shelter, first time, they're seeing all these noises and sounds and barking and everything. They're stressed. And a lot of them show, anxiety, and they become, some of them pace endlessly, or they become depressed.
Yes.
They can express psychological distress. And that usually is not a very good situation for them to get an opportunity to show their best selves.
No.
So when folks come along looking for a pet to adopt, if they see a dog cowering in the corner or pacing up and down, they automatically assume there's maybe something wrong with that dog. And in fact, there really isn't. It's just because in that environment, the dog is just not getting an opportunity to show their best self. Mm-hmm. So if we put a pet bed in there and the dog's able to just lie down and relax and curl up and be a little more comfortable, then that dog is more relaxed and it's able to de-stress, and its true personality is able to show better to potential adopters. And if you imagine a whole shelter with pet beds, all the dogs are relaxed,
yes,
and they're more calm. And honestly, I've had folks that have these beds in their shelters say, my goodness, we had no idea how the noise level in our shelter has just gone down, octaves. It's just been amazing. And also it helps when people come in to our shelter, they see all the dogs quietly relaxed on the beds. They feel good. The dogs feel good. It's just a win-win situation all around. Mm-hmm. So pet beds actually increase adoption rates, they reduce euthanasia rates, and that's the importance of a pet bed. So they save lives.
Absolutely. Now, I'm so glad we're talking about this because I know you know what you're talking about with this when we're talking about beds, because they're very expensive. The ones that can stand the test of time in a shelter, and there's not too many manufacturers of them either. It's not a huge market, so that's why. Tell us about like the ones that you get, and just like the market for pet beds, because it's not, we can't just go to Pet Supermarket and get the nice fluffy ones because it's not going to last. It's not going to work for us. And so tell us about what you're doing.
Well, unfortunately, so folks may think that buying a lovely fluffy bed might be something wonderful to donate to your local shelter. Unfortunately, it doesn't really work because obviously in a shelter environment, shelters tend to hose down the runs, and soft, fluffy beds get wet. Yep. Or they may be soiled on and such. And most shelters don't have, large washing machines and such to keep those type of beds clean. So it's just not the type of bed that works well in a shelter. Also, again, a stressed dog or an anxious dog might want to chew at that type of bed, and then they would perhaps ingest those, the materials, and that might get into their stomach, and we can all have all sorts of problems there. So all in all, not a good idea. So really, it's very important that you have a bed that is shelter proven. And believe me, I tell you, Jeffrey, when I started this, I was very naive. I started off with a bed that I thought was going to be terrific. Yeah. And I learned, over the first year or two, I learned the hard way what was going to, survive in a shelter and what wasn't. Mm-hmm. And so I can honestly say that even the beds that you sometimes get that have the woven toppers, even they simply don't last because the dogs have nails. They like to scratch and nest when they want to get on the bed and curl up. So they scratch and then they make holes in the topper. And then once there's a hole, then, that's an invitation for a little extra chewing. Mm-hmm. So you want something that's smooth and slick, that they can't get their nails into, that they can't get their teeth into. Also, you want something that is protected on all the edges, so that those corner pieces are nicely protected. Anywhere that a dog can possibly get their little teeth into and start to chew, and because once that chew process is started, well, then it's all over.
Yes.
So if you can keep it all nicely sealed, and there's just no way for them to get started, you're in good shape. Mm-hmm. And our beds from Animal Rescue Aid, we literally have patented our beds and our pieces that protect our toppers, so that, so as I say, patented, wow. because we've really proven that these pieces work and they protect the toppers. And because we want, not only do we want these beds, to be donated and get them into the shelters, but we want them to last. It's no point having folks donate hard-earned dollars
Yes.
to get a good quality bed in there if
Yes.
it only lasts a week.
Yes.
You know, we want it in there. We want it to last. We want those pups, not only to have it there for a week or two, but when that pup gets adopted and another one comes in, that pup gets to enjoy that bed. And, you know, we want them there to be there for a long, long while and to be the benefit of a lot of dogs.
Yes.
So that's what it's all about.
All right. Thank you so much, Tracy. We are going to be right back, and we're going to talk more about pet beds and about animal rescue aid. Hang on, everyone. Welcome back to Speaking of Animals. My guest today is Tracy French. She is the founder of Animal Rescue Aid. It's an organization that provides funds and supplies to nonprofit animal shelters to help make the lives of the animals that they're taking care of a lot better. And we were talking about your pet bed donation program, and you also do some other things that you do donation programs for, and one of them is crates. And there's some other things that you do. What's the crate program that you do right now?
Yes, Jeffrey, that is obviously gets slightly less, exposure for us than our pet beds,
Mm-hmm.
because obviously, the pet beds, everybody understands what that's mostly about. But pet crates are also very important to rescue work and those that are doing rescue on the front lines.
Yes, they are.
Of animal rescue.
Yes.
But of course, there are usually